It's a number they do not want you to know. The legacy media, the dinosaur going extinct journos, refusing to say that late night is not only languishing, but there's a new king. And in 2025, yes, he extended his lead. That's the big story. Greg Gutfeld, not only number one, but now far, far riding out into the sun ahead of Kimmel and Colbert. Hello, folks. Do we dare to tell the truth here? You betcha. And we do so on a platter of chatter served up 4 times a day. If you like this sort of thing, consider subscribing. We'd love to have you be part of the party. And folks, a like button, well, that's a real hearty way of saying we love you. And we love you right back. So let's get to it, folks. Here's what's happening in late night, a story they don't want you to hear. Late night is languishing except on Fox News. That's the story out of the Hollywood in Toto. By the way, they don't want to tell you this. They are very determined not to say this whatsoever. But on HollywoodInToto.com, you can find the truth. Gutfeld ruled 2025 while 2 late-night shows collapsed. Lies, tears fueled Jimmy Kimmel's rise, but he's still behind canceled Colbert. Here's the article. It says, It goes through the things you need to be successful in the late-night biz: innovation, humor, show business legends on parade, self-depreciation, zero lectures. The latter is the opposite of what we see across today's late-night TV landscape. It's one of many reasons the format is dying. Even Jimmy Kimmel, a veteran of the late-night wars, admits the business model no longer works. Are they telling you that right now? Are they reminding you that Jimmy Kimmel has said this is going to go away? Enter the left-leaning LateNighter.com. The site just shared the final ratings results for the last 12 months. The numbers are instructive and devastating to the industry. Let's start with the unofficial king of late-night TV. Yes, Fox News' Gutfeld airs earlier than his peers, but it continues to crush the competition. And that lead is growing. What? Greg Gutfeld's program, which features a crush of comedians, talking heads, and pundits, boosted its ratings lead. Folks, they don't tell you this. You ready? In 2025, Greg Gutfeld's lead in late night increased by an impressive 21% versus 2024. Now, what you need to know about that is it should be impossible. It should be impossible. Panel, does anybody know why this should be impossible? Does anybody know, based on what we're doing here, why would it be impossible for Fox News, for Greg Gutfeld to increase his lead from 2024 to 2025? Does anybody know the answer to that? You will be graded.
It's difficult to increase your lead when nobody's watching the competition.
Well, that's one thing. Another thing might be he's on Fox News, Lauren. When would Fox News have its best ratings? Can anybody tell me what type of year would be the best ratings for a news channel? Can anybody think of that?
Should election years, easily.
Yeah. So Greg Gutfeld at 10 p.m. on Fox News somehow managed to actually outperform himself the year before, which was an election year, and grow 21% more over the comedians on late night ABC, CBS, NBC. Should be impossible. Nobody's talking about this. Of course, the legacy media outlets are not going to talk about it. In fact, they've gone so far now, they only will say that, like Jimmy Kimmel is winning or Stephen Colbert is winning in the 11:35 p.m. slot. I'm like, well, la-di-da, who's winning 11:36 p.m.? I want to know that one, right? It says, while the early start gives Gutfeld a distinct advantage, the show airs on a cable channel, which reduces the number of potential viewers by a sizable margin. Kimmel, Colbert, Fallon, Seth Meyers all spread their liberal views via free broadcast airwaves. Speaking of Kimmel, he enjoyed a bounce-back year in 2025 of sorts. The teary-eyed Man Show alum watched his show nearly bite the dust. And he had only himself to blame. Kimmel suggested, you all know what he said. You know the lie he made up, right? Well, you know it. Kimmel enjoyed a 14% uptick in the overall ratings, plus a 4% increase in the coveted 18 to 49 age demographic, right? Yet Colbert's Late Show, which goes the way of the pager and 8-track tape Kame, continues to beat Kimmel. And of course, Fallon, you could combine Fallon with one of those other two guys and not beat Gutfeld. But this is what I wanted people to see. This is the story that nobody's talking about. I had to go to Hollywood in Toto, which we love, by the way. Go bookmark it. But we had to go here to get the news of it. Hey, Wizard, why do you think they're not covering this all over the web? Jimmy Kimmel trounced by Gutfeld, 21% increase in the lead. They don't want to say it.
Ratings are just statistics that you guys are just terrible people. They can't handle it. That's just the truth. Is they can't handle it. It goes against the narrative that they are the best, right? Kimmel and his persona is all about being an authority figure in the commentary comedy space, and the fact that he's circling the bottom there is something they can't handle. They can't talk about it because it goes against the fact that they claim they have absolute power and absolute control of not only late night television, but the narrative at large. They can't talk about this because it ruins the entire story.
But ratings are at their very center because they're based in numbers. They're racist. They're racist. That's the part you're missing.
Darn Rossist numerals. Hey, guys, can I tell you another thing that I learned from this? Jimmy Kimmel Live enjoyed a 14% uptick in the overall ratings, plus a 4% increase in the demo. And the demo is all that matters, right? Jimmy Kimmel, do you remember the incredible ratings he got coming back and people wondering, was he going to apologize? And then there were days we told you this was going to go away because he became like this left, this avatar of the left. All of that. And nonstop awards and nonstop praise online. 4% increase in what matters. I don't care about the nursing home crowd. The 18 to 49, and if you're 51, folks, we're not making fun of you, okay? We're just saying that a large part of Jimmy Kimmel's audience actually does come from assisted living in nursing homes. It's true. 4% culture. That's it. He got a 4% bump, and he's already back lower than he was before now.
Yeah, but you know what? You're afraid to cover the Daily Beast article on this. That's what it is.
The Daily Beast, what does it say?
They're just saying Trump's favorite TV target proves him wrong with ratings win.
Well, the Daily Beast is always rising up in what they got to say.
Yeah, just like really bad bread.
They're a little bit sour about it.
The sourdough for sure. But look, it's just, they can't take the L. And I understand why. I mean, and Kimmel, really, if you're a network like ABC, it costs too much money. It doesn't make enough money. They're taking a hit and a loss on this show, just like Colbert and just like Fallon. I mean, there's no profit in late night anymore. And I think Real Life Fake Wizard is on record last week talking about it. Yeah, that's you. Saying they don't make any money. They don't make any money from any of this. And look, at the time you were right. Right now you're right. They don't make money here. Do you know who makes money? Fox News. Fox News owns not just the news, but late night television. And look, whether or not they want to count it or not, which, we've had discussions here before about, he just wins. And people are looking for funny. They're looking for people who speak directly, honestly, and have a little edge to them. That's why Scott Adams, was able to grow a platform from nothing to huge and in the limited time that he had left in his life. And, by the way, this is a brilliant strip put together to honor him today. But I feel like that if it weren't for late night shows, there would be even less power to being a network right now. They have the perception of power because they can try to shape the news and the narrative, but because their ratings are dwindling, the power shift is going completely the other direction, which I think, take a look at what CBS is doing with Tony Dockapel, and you'll see that these are real threats. These are existential threats. These two shows, Gutfeld and CBS Evening News, are existential threats to late night. And it's been a long time since they've had any.
Now, I want to bring on a man who not only is he of superior lighting, but he is funny and truthful. Please welcome to the stage. He is Senor LED today, Marvin of G&G and TPP. Welcome, sir.
What's going on, gentlemen? I see I arrived just in time for the Jimmy Kimmel of it all.
Yeah, Marvin, we're talking about the fact that nobody apparently did the math. Greg Gutfeld increased his lead in 2025 by a substantial 21% in late night TV, and none of the award shows talked about it, bragged about it. He's not getting the little tiny trophies. I don't know what's going on, Marv.
That's really
clearly
weird.
Somebody has been confused.
That is clearly something that is outside the norm, right?
Yeah. Well, they didn't like Norm Macdonald either, but that's beside the point. What are you talking about?
Well, no, I mean, look, you could set your watch to them not talking about Greg Gutfeld. They don't want to acknowledge the fact that the majority of the country does not think the way that the Hollywood elite think. They don't want to acknowledge the fact that the majority of the minuscule audience watching the Golden Globes didn't want to hear Mark Ruffalo go on an absolute rant where he essentially indicted himself for what should probably be a massive lawsuit. So yeah, they I think they know. I mean, because how could you not know that the world is not aligned behind them, but they are desperately trying to hide that.
Absolutely. Ron, Lauren, your thoughts on this one?
I don't know. It's Gutfeld's been dominating for a good long time now, and
3 years, 4 years, yeah.
I feel like the mainstream late night shows continue to slide further into irrelevance, and I've always looked at the Gutfeld phenomenon a little bit differently, I think, than maybe some others do, because I don't see him as like a traditional late night show. It's not like the late night shows of the past. He's attracting an audience, and I think that he's serving an underserved segment. But I don't see him as the same as a normal late night show, and I would like to see a return to the old variety show style. Sadly, I do think that's a format that probably isn't coming back because our attention spans don't cover that kind of long form content anymore, I don't think.
Yeah, it's a very different, like the Gutfeld show, that I think that's his appeal, is that there's more of a discussion. There's entertainment. I believe he does have a small live studio audience, if I'm correct, from what I've seen. And it's a very different kind of a show, different kind of a format. But the problem is that the Fallons and the Kimmels and the Colberts have all strayed from the original late night format, which was far more entertaining than it used to be. And now they can't compete with Gutfeld on the news items because they're way too skewed, and they're offensive to half of the potential audience. Nobody wants to watch that, or maybe half the audience does, but they're going to lose half in that, and that's not what late night programming used to be. Late night programming used to be fun for everybody, and making fun of both sides and this and that, and animals and really good musical groups and all that kind of stuff. But I also think that we live in a culture where people care less about celebrities' lives. We live in a day and age where, because of TikTok and YouTube and everything else, everybody can be a celebrity. And, when we saw, for example, the outpouring of love for YouTuber Adam the Woo upon his passing, that, you see that it's a very different time period that we live in, a very different culture that we live in. And I think Greg Gutfeld's show, speaks to an audience that is a much wider audience and draws that audience in, because it talks about relevant issues that people want to know the whole story about. He actually has guests on his show, panel members on his show that often disagree with him. And sometimes Greg is funny. Sometimes he really does not hit the jokes right at all, but it's also fun to watch him mess up. And he'll make fun of himself. He'll be self-deprecating. I don't think I've ever really seen Kimmel or Colbert do that. So
even when they cry, I think it's to try to get the upper hand. And yet again, folks, we have come to the end. But what a video it has been, and we hope you agree. Folks, if you had a good time with us, consider clicking that like button, share, subscribe, click it, stick it to the algorithms. It is the notification bell, and drop a comment right on down below. We care about your thoughts Folks, we also want to invite you to partake in thatparkplace.com. Of course, www. You get the idea. Thatparkplace.com. It is the website telling the truth, and it is a rising star across the web for pop culture news coverage and analysis. Go over there and bookmark it today. Folks, we're bookmarking you as a great guest that we appreciate. Until the next time we have the honor of spending time with you, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, folks, you better believe it, keep having fun.